Once you've set up Address Autocomplete for HubSpot or whatever other CRM you're using, there are additional things you can customize. In this video, we'll talk about basic configuration information, and then we'll dive into some of the other common configurations you can set and how to set them up. Okay, so looking at the already implemented autocomplete code, it would be wise not to mess with most of this. However, there is one section where you can add additional parameters to limit the results presented to the user. In the code we used in the setup guide, it looks like this. To find this code, we suggest you do a find on page search and look for const send lookup request, as this is the only block that uses that line of code. All of the following parameters will go after that line, between what we've called lines 5 and 6. You'll create a new line and paste it in, and it will be formatted the same as line 5. If you don't want the default 10 results to appear in your autocomplete suggestions, you'll need to add the max results parameter. Of course, instead of the number sign, you'll put in the number of address suggestions you want displayed. For example, max results 5. So your block should look like this. After you update the page, your form will now suggest no more than 5 addresses at a time, or whatever number you landed on. Maybe you only do business in Georgia and Alabama. It'd be a shame if your form offers addresses in Utah or Washington, potentially offering service outside your area or making your Georgia customers look through all addresses before they get to their own. To limit the addresses to state or multiple states, add the include only states parameter. Here, you'll include the abbreviations for all the states you want included, separated by a semicolon and surrounded by quotation marks. If you only have one state, you don't need the semicolon. Your block should now look like this. You can also input include only parameters for cities and zip codes as seen here.
Important disclaimer.
If you want to use any of the include or exclude parameters, it is recommended that you also add the preferred geolocation parameter and ensure that it's set to none. This is required for the include only zip codes parameter to work. If you do business in many states, and it would be shorter to list the states you don't work in, this parameter is for you. To exclude the states you don't want shown in your autocomplete suggestions, add the exclude states parameter. This parameter will exclude whatever state you put in it. You'll want to update yours to represent the states you want to exclude. Make sure the semicolons separate multiple states. A single state doesn't require a semicolon. Let's say you do most of your business in the zip code 90210. Ooh, fancy. But you still offer business outside of that zip code. You can prioritize addresses within that zip code before others by adding the prefer zip codes parameter. To do this, set your code block to look like this. This example will show 90210 addresses first, but once someone types enough of their address that doesn't fit in that zip code, it'll suggest addresses outside of 90210. If you want to provide additional zip codes, you can as long as the semicolon separates them. There are similar parameters for cities and states, the prefer cities and prefer states parameters. Note that for cities, you'll also need to include the state after the cities you list and separate each city/state with a semicolon. You'll find additional parameters and rules in the US Address Autocomplete Pro API documentation. We've included the most common examples above, and many love them as they are. If you have additional questions, feel free to contact Smarty Support. We can answer all your questions and get you up and running in no time.